Hi everybody, this is Shri and welcome back to my channel Vedic Living. Today I want to talk to you in detail about the solar eclipse in the month of April. This solar eclipse, again, like I always tell you, the effects of an eclipse will be felt for the next 6 months. So it's going to be a monumental one. This is a very strong solar eclipse because Rahu is involved in this eclipse. It's not a Ketu eclipse, it's a Rahu eclipse. So things are very magnified and expanding. So this is a huge solar eclipse. Before we go any further, I want to remind you to make sure you visit my website, vedicliving.com, and use the free chart calculator to see if you have any planets at the degree point of the eclipse and what that means for you in this time frame. And also, while you're there, sign up for my free newsletter, News from the Cosmos. I will be sending out newsletters, free newsletters every month. So make sure you sign up for that. Now, the solar eclipse in the month of April. The very first thing you have to remember is the solar eclipse happens when the sun and the moon come in conjunction with the nodes. And this happens approximately every 6 months. And every time it happens, you will see the effects will kind of last for the next 6 months. So everything that we talk about now, this is basically going to be the trend or kind of like predictions for the next 6 months, okay? On April 6th, before the solar eclipse actually is on April 20th. But before that, on April 6th, we have the full moon that's going to happen. Now, the full moon is with sun in Pisces and the moon in Virgo. And once again, this does mean expansion and growth and optimism and happiness because along with sun, we have Jupiter in Pisces, and Jupiter does do well. It does really well in Pisces because it rules Pisces. It's in Swakshetra. So that's really nice that sun is with Jupiter on April 6th. So even because, Virgo is involved in this full moon, you will see new kind of modalities, treatment modalities, and healing, new discoveries in health and healing come about. April 20th is the solar eclipse. This particular solar eclipse, Rahu is with the sun, and it's happening in Aries, Libra axis. So wherever your Aries Libra axis, whichever area of your life that's ruling, that's where you will see most of this 6 months, kind of changes happening. Now, the nakshatra that is triggered in the solar eclipse is Ashwini nakshatra. So what does that mean? It's the very first nakshatra. It has to do with pioneers, things beginning, right? New beginnings. So once again, kind of adding to that thing that I said earlier about new inventions, new discoveries in space, in technology, in all of those areas. That's what Ashwini Nakshatra rules. Now, the sun rules government leaders, world leadership. So you will see changes in those areas in the next 6 months. There'll be corruption that comes out because a solar eclipse, remember, it's going from dark to light. So whenever there's an eclipse, there are things that were in the dark coming out into the light. So there'll be corruption that was hidden that will come out into the open. We're going to find out a lot of new truths about things. Saturn aspects these planets in Aries. So while the solar eclipse is going on in Aries, Saturn is sitting in Aquarius with its full third aspect on these planets. So this is important because when Saturn aspects planets, that means there is a karmic tone to what's going on. Saturn is the planet of karma. So basically, all past wrongs will come out. There will be things that will get righted, right? It's almost like it's time to face the music for everything that has happened in the past. So you will see that, facing the consequences for past actions, not only around the world and in the world leadership area, but also in your personal lives. Whatever that sign Aries stands for in your chart, those are the areas that you will find in your life, these things happening, okay? And like I said, in Aries being the, innovators, pioneers, starting new things, you will see new technology come out in space, in areas of communications. Even UFO activity can be very high during this time frame. because it's happening in Aries. Okay. Now, right after the solar eclipse, what's really interesting is April 21st, Jupiter will be going into Aries. So with Jupiter going into Aries right after the solar eclipse, what does that mean? Because Jupiter is coming into that same sign where the solar eclipse happened, the next 1 year, you're going to see, Jupiter kind of expansion and things happening in a benefic way. Right? Everything that's going on during the solar eclipse for the next 6 months, like I said, things getting exposed, the underlying flaws of various systems and organizations being exposed, ultimately, there's going to be a good result coming out of this because Jupiter is going to enter that sign. It's the guru. It teaches us the right way to do things. So this is a benefic thing. I believe this is a good thing that it's happening this way. Now, again, while Jupiter is in Aries, even though there is this, tone of expansion and growth and all of that, it is still with Rahu and Uranus. So I always tell you, whenever, planets like Jupiter come in conjunction with Rahu and Uranus, it is an explosion of things happening because Jupiter itself is expansion. Rahu magnifies things. Uranus is sudden, unexpected events. So this time frame between now and June is going to be very volatile, to say the least. And in what areas? In areas of travel, in areas of communications, in the news media agencies, in areas of technology, aeroplanes, all of those areas, because this is definitely, one of the main indicators of Uranus as well. And there can also be very sudden weather patterns, very unpredictable weather patterns happening. Okay. Now, Mercury will be retrograde April 21st till May 15th. And that also has something to do with solar eclipse because Mercury is going retrograde the day after the solar eclipse. So once again, it's giving us an indication that the changes that we're going to see in the next 6 months will have something to do with this Mercury because it's going retrograde the day after. So what does Mercury rule? It rules communications, telecommunications, media, news agencies. So you will see things happening where the news that's coming out is being challenged, or there is going to be changes in the way this is being distributed. The news is being distributed to the people. So there will be some changes in that area too, because Mercury going retrograde the day after the solar eclipse is very telling about that. Okay. Now, Mars is still in Gemini, like I said. So with Mars being in Gemini, the reason I'm talking about that is because Mars is in Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is in Aries, which is ruled by Mars. So there is that Parivartana Yoga going on. So whenever there is a Parivartana Yoga, which is a mutual exchange of planets, both the planets become incredibly strong. If you have this in your personal charts, if you have a Parivartana Yoga, those two areas in your life will be the most monumental. It'll be the most important. Similarly, with Mars and Mercury being in this Parivartana Yoga, mutual exchange, this time frame is going to have those effects. Mercury to do with communication, technology, and media, and Mars to do with new beginnings, new growth. And at the same time, there can be sudden events because Mars is quick with what it wants to do. So this is definitely a time to watch out for, especially when that Mercury is retrograde. If you plan to travel, be ready. There can be some lost luggage, there can be delays in travel, there can be canceled flights. And also Mercury rules our buddhi, right? It's buddh. So at times when Mercury goes retrograde, we tend to be a little forgetful about things. We can be a little foggy, and it's fine. You know that the planets are in these positions. So it's a time to take rest and relax and not start anything that is huge in this time frame. Mercury retrograde is a time to reassess and review everything, not to start new things. Okay. Now, April 22nd, it's beautiful day. You know why? Because on April 22nd, Venus is in Taurus. Okay. Not only that, Moon is in Taurus too. And both Moon and Venus are in the nakshatra Rohini. Moon rules Rohini, so it's amazing there. It's exalted in Taurus, and Venus rules Taurus. So both these planets so strong, amazingly placed in that sign of Taurus. That's a beautiful day for love, for relationships. Venus rules, love and relationships and creativity. And Moon being exalted, you're happy. You feel good because Venus is sitting with the Moon. This is also a good date for marriage. Okay. Although Mercury is retrograde, I believe the Venus and Moon coming together on that date in Taurus can negate a lot of those issues with the Mercury being retrograde. Not to mention Mercury and Mars are also in a Parivartana Yoga. So that can also help to some extent. But April 22nd is a beautiful day, okay, with that transit going on. So with that is going to be the effect of the solar eclipse in the next 6 months. We will be watching this as I make more videos. We'll see what's going on in the world with the solar eclipse and we'll track it. And with that is the video for the solar eclipse in the month of April. Thank you once again for watching my channel, and don't forget to subscribe before you leave. I'll come back to you next time with another video.